Hello, it's Fifa&TheArsenalHD here, and welcome to my transfer window roundup so far, where I will discuss the activity that has occurred so far in this transfer window. If you like my content, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. This may be a long video, so get yourself comfortable and get a box of popcorn. Also, before I start, please follow my Twitter. I usually tweet about deals that are going to happen, and I have a great track record of predicting deals, so please go and follow my Twitter. The link will be in the description. Firstly, I will talk about every Premier League club in alphabetical order. First is obviously Arsenal. Arsenal's first signing so far was Granit Xhaka. He was signed from the German outfit Borussia Mönchengladbach for approximately £35 million. He's a hard-working, solid defensive midfielder who is an Arteta-like type player. The 23-year-old Swiss international does have a tendency to get sent off. His aggression is something that Arsenal have needed for a long time, and he shows a lot of leadership qualities on and off the pitch. Arsenal's second senior signing of the summer transfer window, well, summer in the Northern Hemisphere, was Takuma Sano, who was signed for Arsenal from Sunfresh Hiroshima. Comment if I've pronounced it wrong. I'm not very good at pronouncing Japanese. It's a club in Japan. It's quite a popular club, I think. The transfer cost is undisclosed, but is estimated to be around £1 to £2 million. Personally, I'm quite optimistic about his signature. He is a 21-year-old who has tons of pace and finishing ability. He dribbles like Antoine Griezmann, and he already has a few caps for Japan. Also, it is unlikely that the signing is only for marketing in Japan, as Arsenal are already an extremely big deal in East Asia. The reason that I mention this is because you've seen in the past few years many players from China, Japan, Asia, places with huge marketing potential have been signed only to be sold a year later because the amount of money the clubs will earn from shirt sales and stuff like that would be extremely beneficial to clubs such as Wolfsburg have done it with a few Chinese players. Real Madrid have been linked with a Chinese defender. But I can nearly guarantee that Takuma Asano will be in the senior squad because a club like Arsenal, I really don't think we need that marketing presence because I think we've already got it in East Asia. Hopefully he will not set the world alight. I don't really think we need that, but hopefully he can work well with Giroud and our other attacking options up front. I reckon it's a good signing because we've really got nothing to lose in terms of signing. We didn't really spend much on him, and it could end up being a bargain. You never know. As in literally every transfer window with Arsenal and most other big clubs, Arsenal are rumoured to be in the market for many players. These include Romelu Lukaku from Everton, Gonzalo Higuain from Napoli, Koulibaly from Napoli, Lacazette from Olympique Lyon, and Ricardo Rodriguez from Wolfsburg, who coincidentally, well, I don't think it's a coincidence, I think it's what started the rumours. He's actually best friends with Granit Xhaka, and I reckon that's where the rumours have come from for Ricardo Rodriguez. He's a good fullback, but I am sure that Wenger is still looking for another attacking option in the market. He was so close to signing Jamie Vardy. Only a last-second change of heart stopped the deal, which obviously would have had a bit of monetary influence from the Leicester board. They probably offered him a lot of money to stay. I'm truthfully have been told that there was even a medical being prepared for Vardy before he changed before he refused to come, and I really think that Wenger really wanted him. Personally, I really didn't want Vardy. I didn't think he'd be a good signing. I think he's, other than last year, technically is not a great footballer. I think it was just his pace, and he wouldn't really work with Arsenal's play style, which apparently is one of the reasons why he left, as well as the money he was being offered at Leicester. Yeah, that's all about Arsenal. I'm going to be really honest with you. So Burnley's been promoted from the Championship after being relegated 2 years ago. Yeah, they haven't really signed anyone that significant. I know they've signed a few teenagers, so if you're a Burnley fan, please don't get angry at me in the comments. But I don't really know much about them, so I don't really want to talk about them much. But the one thing with Burnley I do want to talk about is their promising defender Michael Keane. If you don't know who Michael Keane was, he's a Man United youth academy. He came out of the academy there and he got sold to Burnley 2 years ago or something, and since then he's dramatically risen through the ranks there. He's become a first team defender, and he's been rejecting contracts apparently that Burnley have offered him to stay. And I've been told by my sources, yes, my sources, they're not really sources, it's just I really know who to trust. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Michael Keane has been offered multiple contracts by Burnley, which he has rejected because he feels that he can be a defender at a top club. I know that Leicester City have done two bids, which have been quite high, like up to £20 million, I think it was, with incentives, and they've been rejected. So let's see how this saga goes. How Burnley will go this season, I'm not sure. I reckon they will get a few new faces in before the deadline because, especially if Keane leaves, their defence will need a massive shake-up. AFC Bournemouth have gone under a minor reshaping so far in this transfer window, with selling two of their very important players and taking them up to the Premier League. These two players are Tommy Elphick, who's gone to Aston Villa in the Championship, and Matt Ritchie, who's also gone back to the Championship. In my opinion, I have no idea why a player like Matt Ritchie has taken a step backwards. The lure must have been to play under Rafa Benitez in a club that probably will come back, but he's 26, and in my opinion, I would have stayed at Bournemouth because 1 year of Premier League football would be so important at that stage in your career. Like, I understand that Newcastle, in the long term, are more sustainable and probably would have more time in the Premier League, but you just can't stuff up that chance. You worked so hard to get to the Premier League, Matt. Come on. Uh, Eddie Howe has been quite busy. He's bought Lee Mousset, excuse me if I pronounced that wrong, from Le Havre in France. I probably pronounced all that wrong. He's a French under-20 international, promising future. He's a forward. He can play as a striker on the wings. Looks very promising. Looks like Max Gradel a bit when he dribbles. They're both quite capable of the ball. He can play as a target man, but also as a poacher. So looks a bit like a bit of an Alvaro Morata, shall we say. Also, Bournemouth have signed Nathan Ake on loan from Chelsea. The fullback who was at Watford last season, who was probably one of the best players of the season. So Bournemouth have been quite productive in the market so far. This is a big transfer window for Chelsea with their new manager Antonio Conte. It's quite interesting because I've been hearing stories that I reckon are true that Diego Costa is unsettled, and I think only a few days ago did he agree to stay under Antonio Conte's ambitions. I think he's got quite high ambitions and wants to take Chelsea back to the top of Europe. The rumours surrounding Graziano Pellè's move to Stamford Bridge, I think, were only to do with Diego Costa's the fact that he was unsettled. They've been linked with many defenders, such as Koulibaly, who was also linked with Arsenal, also Alvaro Morata in attack, but I don't think they'll sign another striker now that they've signed Michy Batshuayi from Marseille in the French league. Obviously, you can't really trust players who've done well in France, but he's been extremely prolific in France for a young guy, a Belgian who's an international for them. He's pacey, and he was also linked with Arsenal, and Chelsea did extremely well to get him, like £35 million or something like that. And I reckon he'll be a great signing for them, and I expect to see many more additions for the Chelsea squad. Crystal Palace are truly making some world-class additions to their squad. Well, I might not say world-class, but they're really pushing to become a top-level English Premier League club and definitely putting their stamp on the league. As I said before, Chelsea signed Michy Batshuayi, or however you pronounce his name, but that was only after Crystal Palace had a £32 million bid rejected for the Belgian striker. They're really going for it. They've also bidded the same amount for Christian Benteke from Liverpool, which I don't even think they've rejected yet. I think Liverpool are seriously considering allowing Benteke to leave the club. Also, they've also gone for Robin van Persie, apparently. Apparently, they've been linked with him, and I haven't heard anything more about it, but the link may have some substance, and you never know. After releasing players like Adebayor and Shamak, Crystal Palace might want more attacking firepower, but those guys weren't really firepower anyway. No, but seriously, yeah, Crystal Palace are really looking good to shape up this year. But you always got to remember, that's what we said last year, and they had the great start to the season with Cabaye, but then they tailed off and nearly got relegated. One of the signings that Crystal Palace have, one of the players they've signed so far was Andros Townsend from relegated Newcastle. He nearly single-handedly kept them up after his transfer from Spurs in January. Nearly single-handedly. I'm not sure how many goals he scored, but it definitely would have been close to double digits. And he got an amazing amount of assists too. He's such a good player on the ball. He's so powerful, and He really should have been in that England squad, in my opinion. He on his day, he can be an unbeatable player. He can be invincible on the pitch, and it's a coup, really. I think it's a massive coup for Crystal Palace to sign a player of Townsend's caliber, and yeah, but it's just showing with all the money going into the Premier League how, well, I wouldn't say easy, but when teams get relegated or teams from other leagues have a player who wants to leave, the amount of money that can be offered by England's top flight club is absolutely amazing. That these mid-table clubs are signing absolute world beaters sometimes. It's ridiculous. And if you thought Townsend was a statement of intent, what about this signing? Steve Mandanda, the veteran goalkeeper, who's I wouldn't say a legend, but he's definitely have been a key figure in Marseille throughout the golden era a few years ago. He was absolutely brilliant in those years. I think he represented France at a World Cup or two and the Euros 2012. He's a great shot stopper, and he'll definitely be a massive part of Crystal Palace's side next year. And I really want to see how he goes, because I actually Lloris has done pretty well after he moved from Ligue 1, so maybe could be a correlation between Ligue 1 goalkeepers doing well in the Premier League. You never know. But again, this is a massive statement of intent from the Crystal Palace board and the manager Alan Pardew, and they'll definitely, well, hopefully, they might even make a run for the Europa League this year. We'll see. Guys, I just realised that if I completed this video, it would take a few hours, so there'll be multiple parts, and this is the end of part 1. Okay, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Bye.